Hey everybody, Assalamu alaikum. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the notify button so you know when you're getting new episodes. And we just want to grow this project. I thank you in advance. Without further ado, let's get it rolling. The Shout Out Show.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuh. I'm Free Mars, host of the SOS Shout Out Show. It's Friday! It's Friday! It's Friday! Which means you got 2 more days not to deal with craziness, 2 more days not to deal with people in your office, 2 more days not to deal with any more Zoom meetings, 2 more days of no StreamYard. But one thing you're going to have on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you're still going to have the Shout Out Show. You know why? Because I love it. All right. I hope everybody's doing well. Let me give a big ups for anybody that's coming for the first time. You know the deal. I should have the people who are here all the time say the deal. But the deal is basically, if you're here for the first time, on the way in, click the subscribe button. If we do pique your interest, we do earn your trust and your time, please hit the like button for this particular show. And I just want you to know, whether you like the show or you don't like the show, you are officially a part of the Shout Out Show family, the Shout Out Show soldiers. You know why? Because we don't judge. We appreciate you dropping in. Spend what time you can. If you have to leave, you got to leave. I understand it. We all got lives. That's number one. Number two goes out to, of course, brothers and sisters, my Shout Out Show family, the regulars, Sister Rabina all the way in her pajamas from London, Sister Satana, who helps us out so much with the consulting. She's our consultant producer, and she actually pulled everything together for our guests I'm going to be speaking about briefly. And we have people going to come on. There's from right there, Sister Reed, who is Sister Reed is Virtual Craft Services. Virtual Craft Services. She brings food over to make sure I don't fall over dead in my house. And I like Sister Reed because she don't worry about whether it's healthy or not. She worries whether it's tasty. And this is what we need to get back to. This realism. Stop worrying about it being healthy. Let it be tasty. And I just, because you got to go, brothers and sisters, you got to go. Like Red Fox said, all these people worried about what they're eating, you got to get it. There you are, dying of nothing. You're all going to die of something. So you know what? A little piece of cake, okay? A couple chips, some lasagna, turkey lasagna. I'm giving you a hint. I'm going to give you your Pyrex back too, Reed. I'm saying that we all have our situation scenarios, but we're all entitled to enjoy ourselves. So here we go. All right. There we go. So Sister Satana is back in the house. So today's topic, brothers and sisters, I thought we have a light one. I thought that we would go back to our Friday Funnies, which is hilarious times with parents today. And I'm saying hilarious times with parents. It doesn't have to be weighted in, oh my gosh, it was this deep connection. It ain't got to be that. Don't have to be that. It could be loose stories, loose tales. And what I'm hoping to do next week is people like Sister Rabina, people like Sister Reed, and folks like that that come on. I'm going to actually try and put in the box where you can be on the show. We're going to try something different. So, Satana, I'm going to talk to you about that as well. Let me announce who we're going to be having on the show tomorrow. Our Saturday Spotlight is going to be featuring Imam Mark Manley, a very good friend of mine. And I say Imam Mark Manley as a very good friend of mine because he's a scholar. He's done amazing work in terms of prison chaplaincy programs in Philadelphia. He's out in California. He has this amazing program of trying to balance the communities in a religious, I want to say in a purposeful religious exercise that blends out into being very, very useful in the community as a whole. Like, it's other things he's going to tell you about. I mean, he's fluent in Arabic. He taught himself Arabic. He's fluent in Arabic. I mean, this guy has his own show. We're going to talk about his show as well. But I think even more, we're going to actually talk about some of the problems. Sister Rabina. All right, he had to catch up on some sleep. Yeah. You know what? Muslims are the most sleep-deprived religion in the world. We are. We were. Okay. That's right. See how this, let me say, if anybody's coming on the show, this is how it works. Sister Satana is sending shout outs to Sister Rabina. That's right. We missed you. She was away a few days. See how people are? This is community online. StreamYard is giving us community online. So I have talked a little bit and ran my mouth a little bit, but I want to get to some points here. This weekend you're gonna have some political stuff going on. Here's the deal. Don't OD on it. Don't OD on it. Don't be consumed by it. I'm putting it out here to anyone who's listening. I'm putting it out here today that anyone and everyone should actually take time to just focus on your family. Focus on your family. Focus on your loved one. This is not an election about your loved ones at this point in time. This is about power and power shifts. The power that you're looking for is the power inside yourself. The power that needs to be worked on and expanded and developed is in your family. Do that. Talk to your children. Talk to your brothers, your sisters, the people in the masjid, the people that normally come to the masjid, because this has been a basic call to action. And we have to look at the fact that this is a call to action. And in all call to action, it begins with a couple basic elements. Number one, there's a problem. Number two, there's a conflict. Number three, there's a potential for a larger conflict. Or number four, there's a potential for a larger solution. Okay, so let me move into the gist of the show today. I thought about this one, and I started actually calling and have my dad come on the show. That would have been hilarious to have Clifford Moss Jr. on the show. You guys think I'm funny. This is a funny dude. Even at 77, he's a funny cat. So the title of the show, brothers and sisters, is simply this. Sorry about that. It's on the screen. Hilarious times with parents. Hilarious times with parents. Now, a lot of times, when we get older, we think we don't need our parents as much. We want to refine the narrative between ourselves and our mothers and our fathers and all those things. And that's all a part of growing up. But there's always going to be some times in those particular situations whereby, brothers and sisters, you're going to find out how loving your parents are, how funny your parents are, and in some great cases, how crazy your parents are. So let's continue. If you have any stories about your parents, please put them in the comment box. And I'd like to go ahead and put them on the show today, because I'm not the only one with parents, right? You have to say that these days because people just don't know. They don't understand a rhetorical question. Yeah, I talk about my dad because, my mom, I'm going to give you a little bit about my mom. My mom was if my mom was a civil rights worker, she grew up in the civil rights era. She was a civil rights worker, yes. But my dad was more like the Black Panthers. Hey, Miss Eleanor, how you doing? I'm going to tell y'all something about Miss Eleanor. Miss Eleanor hooked me up on some Utz potato chips. She can't get them anywhere except in the DC metropolitan area. She didn't get me one bag of Utz. She got me the 190 bag of Utz, and I ate myself into a damn near coma. But I digress. Good to see you, Miss Eleanor. I remember my dad as more like an angry young Black man. Like, how people run into racism? He went looking for it. And I think it had to do with the fact that, we were raised in Washington, D.C. It was predominantly Black. And my dad and my mom both got government jobs. And back then, when you made the move, if there was a ladder, if you will, like a social ladder, if you will, you start out in D.C. We were in Southeast D.C. and you would move to Maryland. And that was the move up, if you will. We moved to, shout out, walaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Sister Aika, all the way from Indonesia. See, we get people all over. Sister Aika, thank you. But we moved to Maryland, and here's the deal. This is around the busing time. This is when integration is being forced at some regards, then it's being fought for. Let me say that again. It's being forced, it's being fought for. The government was fortunate, and black people were fighting for it because we have mobility at this point in time. Wasn't no need to stay in bad housing. If you can, no need to stay in an apartment, if you will, if you can afford a house. And that was the whole thing. The place is called Prince George's County. We lived in Lanham, Maryland, but Prince George's County is still remains one of the largest black middle class suburbs in the United States. I think it still is, maybe behind Atlanta. That's it. So basically, my dad was he was not an integrationist. He wasn't an integrationist. He wasn't an apologist. And he believed in his heart of hearts that despite the neighbors, he thought that the neighbors were a little soft, and they thought that he was a little crazy. So I'm gonna tell you this story about my dad. Now, we lived on a court, and we had a new neighbor. The neighbor beforehand was a real nice white family, very obedient to my dad, very, very deferential to my dad. Oh, sorry, Cliff, no problem. So the family that replaced them was a biker family. Like the son was a biker. So you can see black militant family and biker, black militant family and biker, right? So they would run these motorcycles. My dad hated motorcycles. And they would run them all kinds of the night. So my dad, he didn't appreciate it. And he would, he practiced threats. Like, man, when you die, that's the way my dad used to talk sometimes. He still talked that way a little bit. He sounds like a lawnmower trying to start, like, and then he put at the end, like, white person, like, hey, I'm gonna crack crazy. See how that work? Old face mess with me. See, he say that. And that would let me know that the fun was about to begin, brothers and sisters. The fun was about to begin. So in this one particular time, the neighbor across the street, Miss Pollard, beautiful lady, beautiful spirit, there she was, working in her garden, minding her own business. Now the bikers were having a party, and they were out of order, getting really, really drunk, way too drunk. And so my dad was digging up, doing yard work. Miss Pollard was doing yard work. Husband, Mr. Pollard, was not home. So one of the bikers got so drunk that he yelled the N-word at her and dropped his pants and mooned her. Let me say this to be very, very clear. He didn't drop it a little bit. He dropped his whole pants and bent over and showed Miss Pollard her behind. Now, what he didn't realize was while he was mooning this way, my dad was looking that way. So he didn't see my dad. So while he was sitting there mooned over laughing, my dad runs over there, shovel in hand, while he's bent over, and you guess it, brothers and sisters, smacked him on the butt with a shovel. Whack! And now, I know you're supposed to be compassionate when people are feeling pain, when they're in agony. But when that boy started yelling, I'm here to tell you, I darn near saw myself laughing. And the funny part was, he didn't know right then what was going on. Like, he had his pants down, like, ha ha, and he heard the smack, whack, and he was like, what was that? And then the pain shot through his face, and he started hollering, and he looked back, and there's my dad with a shovel. Now, here's what makes it a classic. He's covering his behind. My dad says these magic words. I never forget them. My dad said, move your hand. Move your hand. No, I'm all... So here's a guy with a very red behind, because the white guy, red behind. My dad, he didn't even take the dirt off the shovel. He smacked him on the butt with a shovel. So it's red behind and dirt. The guy goes and calls the police. The police show up. My dad's back in the yard digging up stuff. To him, he has defended the integrity of our neighborhood. To me, I'm like, that's my dad. He's holding it down for the whole neighborhood. I'm telling all my friends, my dad smacked this white boy on the butt with the shovel. The whole neighborhood knew, like, oh, snap. We're enjoying ourselves as kids because we don't get this kind of excitement. The police come. My dad does not go in the house. He doesn't go in the house. When the guy comes out, he's still, hurting. So you could see him writing And see the cop writing the report. He's writing the report, and he's like, "Okay, you were drinking. Okay, okay, you be yelling some stuff. No, that's not good." He says, "Well, you drop your pants. Whoa, what happened?" Then he goes, and the black man smacked her on the butt with a shovel. And right at that point, the guy closes up his book. My dad walks over there like George Jefferson, goes, "That's right, I did it, and I'll do it again." Now, brothers and sisters, it don't get much funnier than that. Now, more to the story. Don't be around black men with shovels when you try to have racial incidents. That's the moral of the story. Now, I'm here to tell you, my mom is a character. My mom is a character. My dad is a character too. My dad used to have house parties, and he would invite the whole neighborhood over. Now, Sultana, you might not be able to relate to this, but my dad would invite people over to the house to have house parties. But the rule was you could eat whatever you wanted to, you could drink as how much you wanted, but here was the deal. If you were drinking, my dad got to be the bartender. That was his whole thing. He wanted to be the bartender. Now, let me give you some insight and be totally transparent. My dad was a horrible bartender. When I say horrible, he didn't read any books. He didn't read any magazines. He made up all kinds of drinks for these people. And I'm here to tell you, there's a science to when you pour a drink, especially with alcohol. They use things like one part this, one part that. My dad ain't understand none of them parts. It was one whole. If you say you want 7 and 7, it wasn't like a little bit of this. He would put half in, half out. Half in, half out. And people would be partying, drinking. My dad was the bartender, but he was a horrible bartender. And literally, these people be getting sauced up, falling out in the house. Me and my mom wake up in the house and people just be laid out because of my dad's drink. And you know what the funny part was? He wouldn't drink his own drinks. They're like, "Cliff, when you gonna drink on you?" "No, I got a Budweiser." My dad was a prolific Budweiser drinker. It take half of Germany to get him drunk on Budweiser. But he decided to be the bartender, and that was it. Hold on, my mom is tuning in. Oh, okay. All right. Mom's throwing in some stuff. Okay, people. Well, I'll tell on myself a little bit. Whenever we had to go to Baltimore, because I think my great auntie lived in Baltimore. We had to go up there for different stuff. But there was a magic shop, okay? And I was a kid, Mom. So don't, you're lucky I'm a comedian because I could have been a magician. All right, I would have been a horrible magician. But yeah, I did. I dragged them all over Baltimore, and I fell in love with this magic shop. Mom, there's nothing to that. I don't know why you think that's funny. Oh, you let me. I think that was okay. Okay. I thought I was tricking them into doing it. They let me. Okay. Let me tell you about my mom. Why are you on the line? Here's how crazy my mom. Long before COVID, brothers and sisters, and I'm not making fun of my mom, she had some health issues. And she had the foresight to realize that maybe there were some infectious disease issues. This is before COVID, okay? Before COVID or Ebola. And we used to think they were allergies. So my mom used to travel with a blue mask. Now, everywhere you go, you see people with blue masks. So, Mom, hey, you started a trend, okay? My mother and my Aunt Maxine, who you've seen on the show, would torture us children into adulthood because we would have to go down to Danville, Virginia for a variety of reasons, but we never flew. There was never a plane down to Danville. It's either the train or the bus. The train took 157 years, and the bus took 157 years and 14 minutes. You see what I'm saying? So we would have to drive, and then when we got of age to drive, my mother and my aunt, who don't drive at all, my aunt would say the same thing. "Let me know if you need me to help drive." And as soon as you got off the driveway, she'd be knocked out. She'd fall asleep with her eyes closed. Okay, so that's my aunt. My mom was good. on the shotgun seat. I'll give that to her. She's good on the shotgun seat this particular time. But let me say this. Whenever we had to go down to Denver, we had to stop in this place called Chesterfield County. All right? Chesterfield County. Let me give a shout out. Thanks for coming on the show. Mob VC, thank you. We had to stop at this place called Chesterfield County. Now, let me tell you why this doesn't make sense. Chesterfield County had some of the most racist cops outside of Richmond. They were waiting to give a Negro a ticket. I mean, if you were breathing through your nose and out your mouth correctly, you might get a ticket in Chesterfield County. Why did my mother and my aunt, who never drove, every time we go, as kids, we have to stop at this McDonald's, brothers and sisters, outside of Chesterfield County. Now, keep in mind, they ain't drive. They weren't even thinking about driving. We stop at a McDonald's, and here's the killer part. They don't want to go through the drive-thru. They want to get out of the car and have conversation and talk about all the good times they're going to have when they get to Virginia and Danville. Meanwhile, the clock is like tick, 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 tick. We spent a whole hour at a McDonald's with these two. On this particular trip, we spent way too much time. So my mother, with the mask on, brothers and sisters, true story. I'm driving, we're a little bit behind. She starts messing with me while I'm driving. Is that the fastest you could go? Man, what kind of support is that for your mother? She's looking at me, she's taunting me. Well, you can't make this thing go any faster? But you kind of like, what, you scared? I'm like, why are you talking to me like that? She said, you need to go ahead and she literally goes, put your weight on it. Put your weight on it. Talking about the gas pedal. I speed up. We just out of Chesterfield County. What happens, brothers and sisters? Bam, I get pulled over. Instead of my mother acknowledging I was speeding at your request, at your insistence, at your inference, she goes, these police are racist. I'm like, you're the one that told me they were racist. They weren't racist when I was doing 65. They're racist when I'm doing 80. My mother, they're racist. And she goes, when we pulled up, she goes, I'm going to go tell them, I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. My mother gets out of the car, brothers and sisters. She gets out of the car with a blue mask on. I'm like, get your butt back in the car before you get all of us killed, looking like you just left a robbery. I don't mean to laugh, folks, but that's my mom. My mom's a G. She's a gangster, but she wasn't too smart in that one. Hey, Mom, hope you heard that story. I hope you heard that story. So, brothers and sisters, I'm saying these things because our parents motivate us. Our parents motivate us. My dad is a funny dude in the best situation, in the worst situation. Funny dude. Okay, we got one right here. Sister Rabina Chaudhry. Let me read it. Anybody else have one? Put it in. My school teacher said that I would be entered for the low level end of secondary school chemistry exam. My dad marched me up to the teacher and demanded that not only was I to be entered for the high level exam, but the middle level and the low level. I ended up sitting 3 separate chemistry exams. He's right. I passed all of them. My parents always said, who said you can't do it? You show them. That's actually pretty funny. You had a good dad. My dad was a good man, crazy though. Oh wow, it's already 24 minutes. I'm gonna give you guys this story, and then I'm gonna let you get to your weekend. The best Clifford Moore story was when I was playing T-ball. Little league, when you're too little to really hit the ball. You have to put it on a stand. You have to hit it. My dad, I'm gonna give him credit. He was trying to fit in with the community. So at one of these games, somebody said, "Hey, Cliff, why don't you be an umpire? Help us out." And it's a white person. "Hey, Cliff, why don't you help us out?" And I'm sitting here like, you asking him to help you out? Okay, all right. And it was going well. Because my dad was into it. He liked baseball and all that. But it's competitive sports. And there's going to be some issues with competitive sports. And everything was going well until this one play. Boy hit the ball, coming around the bank. comes in the home. It's close. My dad calls him out. Outraged parents rushed my dad. Let me say this. Outraged white parents ran to my dad. And my dad did the ultimate Nat Turner and picked up a bat and was like, whoever want to be put on second, step forward. Whoever want to triple, step forward. Now, as a kid, you realize that you're probably not going to be able to play T-ball with those kids ever again because your dad ruined that experience. However, I did respect him, as I do now, as I do my mom. And I want him for all of us, whatever the good times, bad times are, with our parents, there's always a space in there where you can always appreciate them. So listen, I'm not going to take up any more time. I know I want everybody to give it to their weekend and enjoy it. Remember what I said. Turn off the TV for this weekend. Don't forget also that we have Mark Manley coming on, the man Mark Manley coming on. You don't want to miss that show. I'm telling you, we were lucky to get him. He's going to be on. You can look on Instagram and pick up information about him. But I want everybody to know that this is somebody I'm going to bring on. I'm actually going to frame where this relationship comes from. I've known Mark quite a while, since when he was back in Philadelphia. But there was a show we had on about Netflix and the hypersexualization of young children. He was the one that turned me on to this thing. I read his post on Instagram and we talked about it. And we actually did a show about it. Sister Rabina has been very gracious in giving me even more stuff. And just so you know, Netflix has now been indicted. I guess indicted would be the word, on issues of, child pornography, things like that. So they have a case going on in Tyler, Texas. So listen, I want everybody to have an amazing weekend. Come check out the show tomorrow because, it's going to be light. It's going to be funny. And I have some things I want to share. I got to talk to Sister Satana about a few things. But we actually have a new ad that I want to break out, exclusive, if you will, an exclusive for the Shout Out Show. I want to put it out here before I put it out anywhere else. And a big shout out to my homie, Corey Holcomb. Corey Holcomb, if you've seen comedy, Corey Holcomb is like the underground Red Fox. But more than that, Corey's my friend. And when I have projects and things, I always run it past him. He's always honest, always caring, always giving. I mean, I showed him the ad, and he's like, I'm going to put it on the 5150 show. I didn't even ask him. That's what kind of dude he is. But I know he's busy, and he even stopped to give me some kind words. So, brothers and sisters, I hope you are in a space, an amazing space to have a great weekend. And if you're not in an amazing space to have a great weekend, I hope you're in an incredible space to have a great weekend. Turn off the TV, turn off the social media, talk to somebody, hug somebody. Preacher Moss, SOS Show. Thank you guys very much. See you tomorrow, inshallah.
Hey everybody, this is your brother Preacher Moss. Listen, I hope that you enjoyed your Shout Out Show experience. We'll be back with the next show, the next Shout Out Show. Simple ask before you go, please help your brother out. Click that subscribe button, click that notify button, and I'll see you again on this side of the microphone. You probably wonder what that smell is. That's me. I smell good. And the reason I smell good is because I use oils from Tarifa Tar. So I'm not saying you can't smell good. I'm not even saying you stink. I'm saying you have the opportunity to smell exquisite. Check out tarifatar.com for some of the best oils and scents in town.